Help! Help!
I screamed at the top of my lungs, but no one answered, and no one came to rescue me.
Sophie smelled thick smoke, and the bathroom door wouldn't budge. Someone had done this on purpose.
An hour ago, during lunch break, I went to the bathroom, and suddenly the door wouldn't open. At first, I thought it was just a malfunction. With so many people on this floor, someone was bound to come to the bathroom. Without my phone, I could only wait. After a long time, the school bell rang, but no one came. This was very unusual.
After a while, she smelled the acrid scent of smoke.
Looking around, there were no tools, just a toilet and a trash can. The smoke grew thicker, and I was terrified. What if I was trapped here and something terrible happened? What would my parents do?
Cough, cough. The smoke filled my throat, and I coughed violently. I pounded on the door helplessly.
Sophie stared at the toilet and suddenly had an idea. She lifted the porcelain lid of the toilet tank. It was heavy. She used it to smash the door lock with all her strength, squinting through the increasing smoke.
Finally, I broke the door open. I tried to run out but found the main bathroom door was also locked. The bathroom stalls were mostly burned. Luckily I had entered the last stall. Most importantly, I saw a metal bucket on the floor. I walked over and touched it. Oil. The bathroom had few flammable materials besides the stall doors. Without the oil, it wouldn't have caught fire. Someone had planned this.
The bathroom was small, and the window was closed. Sophie quickly opened it and stood by the window, calling for help. Smoke escaped through the window, and soon someone noticed. But she felt increasingly suffocated and gradually lost strength.
I collapsed by the bathroom door. As I fell, I saw a name badge. I grabbed it tightly but couldn't read the words. Slowly, I lost consciousness.
Sophie had a nightmare. She saw her parents, devastated and crying every day after she was gone. She stood beside them, but they couldn't see or hear her. She could only cry.
When I opened my eyes again, I saw a white ceiling and an four drip. I was in a hospital. I was alive.
Sophie clenched her fist and felt something hard. She remembered the name badge, possibly the culprits. Though weak, she could see the name, Jessica.
She was a girl who transferred to our class last semester. From the first day, she seemed to dislike me. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but later, she avoided any activity I was involved in. We were strangers, and I didn't know why. I even tried talking to her, but she walked away, unwilling to communicate. I figured we didn't need to get along, so I ignored her. I knew she disliked me, but I didn't realize it had escalated to this. I wondered what I had done to offend her.
Sweetie, you're finally awake. You scared me to death. Mary rushed into the room and hugged Sophie tightly.
It's okay, Mom. I'm fine now.
She kept crying, and John came in right after, patting my head.
Dad, I found this in the bathroom.
I quickly handed him the brooch and explained.
I was in the bathroom, the door was locked, and I couldn't get out. I also found a can of oil. Dad, someone wants to harm me.
He looked at the brooch, and I saw a clear look of shock in his eyes.
I'll hand this over to the police. You just rest well.
Dad said and then left, probably to call the police. I hugged Mom, remembering how David and Linda always said she was a pampered princess since childhood. Even now, I think she's beautiful, kind, and gentle, though she lacks decisiveness. But that's okay, as long as Dad and I are here to protect her. After a while, people started coming to visit me, mostly my classmates and teachers, bringing fruits and other gifts. Mom and I warmly welcomed them. Unexpectedly, Jessica also came, along with her mom. From the moment they entered the room, I stared at Jessica, and she glared back at me. I didn't know why she came. Her mom looked just like her, both giving off a fierce vibe. I didn't want to see them, so I quietly told Mom to ask them to leave.
Mom, please ask them to leave. I need to rest.
Though puzzled, she did as I asked.
Thank you for your kindness, but my daughter needs to rest now. You can leave.
Jessica's mom seemed to explode, throwing the things in her hands to the ground.
We came with good intentions, and this is how you treat guests? Just because you have some money, you think you're so great? Such kindness wasted.
That's not what I meant.
I held Mom's hand, signaling her not to explain too much. This person could very well be the culprit. Suddenly, Dad came in. I gave him a look, indicating that Jessica was the one. As soon as he entered, Jessica's mom stopped her outburst and stood there like a mouse seeing a cat. It was strange, but I didn't think much of it.
Are you Jessica's mom?
Yes, I am.
Please leave now. Don't disturb my daughter's rest.
Okay.
It was so odd, like Dad was talking to a subordinate.
Dad, did you tell the police about the brooch? Jessica has disliked me since she transferred here, and her brooch was found in the bathroom. I think she's the one.
Sweetie, why didn't you tell me you were being bullied at school?
I didn't want you to worry.
You have to get to the bottom of this. Until it's resolved, Sophie is in danger.
Don't worry, leave it to me.
The matter seemed to pass. After some time recovering, I returned to school and found that Jessica was indeed gone, rumored to have transferred. Dad was following up with the police, but they said there wasn't enough evidence. Time passed quickly, and I gradually began to forget about the incident. One weekend, my mom and I planned to go on a trip, something we had arranged long ago. My dad couldn't join us because of work. We first went to the airport, but unfortunately, the flight was canceled due to weather conditions. I was disappointed. Everything was ready, but we couldn't go. With no other choice, we headed back home. On the way, we passed a flower shop, and my mom got out to buy a bouquet. I looked puzzled, but she was full of joy and whispered mysteriously,
"A surprise for your dad."
I smiled, hoping that one day I could have a beautiful love like theirs. Even after having a child, their love hadn't faded. I was envious. To help my mom surprise my dad, we asked the driver to make as little noise as possible. When we got home, our plan was for me to go in first, check the situation, and then ask my dad to help Mom with the luggage. Meanwhile, Mom would wait and give him the flowers, a romantic gesture. I sneaked into the house and found that Dad wasn't in the living room. I checked the study, but he wasn't there either. Finally, I tiptoed to their bedroom. Before I even reached the door, I heard some moaning and gasping sounds. I flung the door open. There was Dad, naked, with another woman who was also undressed. I screamed. They saw me, and Dad hurriedly pulled a blanket over them. The woman turned to look at me, and I recognized her. It was Jessica's mom. I ran out, and Mom, hearing my scream, rushed in, still holding the bouquet she had bought. Crying, I pushed her towards the door.
Mom, let's go, let's leave this place.
She brushed past me and opened the door. I watched her, tears streaming down my face, as she closed the door behind her. I remembered when I was little, Mom and Dad were so loving. They often took me out to play together. Whenever Dad came back from a business trip, he would bring me gifts, though they were never as good as Mom's. Every day, before Dad went to work, Mom would tie his tie, and they would kiss at the door. I didn't understand how things had come to this. Inside was Jessica's mom, and Jessica was the one who tried to harm me. How could Dad do this? Wait, if Dad and Jessica's mom, could Jessica be? Thinking about it, I seemed to understand why Jessica looked down on me, hated me, and even wanted to harm me. Mom was the most beautiful and gentle woman I had ever seen, and she had been betrayed. I couldn't fathom her feelings at that moment. I could only hold her, trying to convey my warmth to her. She pulled me into the bedroom, giving the two of them time to get dressed and come out. Soon, there was a knock on our bedroom door. I opened it. It was Dad.
Xiaoyu, let me explain. I drank too much and lost my senses.
Where's that woman?
I sent her away.
Sophie, go back to your room.
Even at that moment, Mom still cared about my feelings. Not wanting to cause her more trouble, I returned to my room and listened at the door. I heard Mom crying and things being thrown. It was hard to imagine such a gentle mom having a day like this. I wanted to go out and comfort her, but I held back. She needed to vent, and she couldn't do that in front of me. To my surprise, Mom didn't get a divorce. From that day on, the house became silent. I often heard their arguments from my room. My home was falling apart. One sunny afternoon, Mom took her own life. That day, when I returned home, I saw the vase filled with flowers. I went to my room to find my mom, only to see her lying peacefully on the bed. No matter how much I shook her, she wouldn't wake up. My world turned black and white. The subsequent funeral and memorial service felt like I didn't even attend them. I only remember that woman showing up at the memorial service.
Get out! You don't belong here!
I threw everything within reach at her. She was furious and tried to hit me, but John stopped her. I didn't want to see those two people, they made me sick. I thought letting her attend the memorial was already the lowest point, but 3 months later, they moved into my house, Jessica and her mom. I hid in my room, watching through the window as those two women moved their luggage into my home. Jessica looked up and saw me, smiling as if she was showing off.
Sophie, this is your Aunt Helen. She will be your stepmother from now on. This is Jessica, she's older than you, so you should call her sister.
Did you hand over that brooch to the police?
Sophie, Jessica was in class that day. She didn't harm you.
Is she your biological daughter? You've been unfaithful for a long time, haven't you?
He slapped me. He had never hit me before, but today he did.
How dare you speak to your father like that?
I threw my utensils on the ground.
I will never eat with them!
I shouted and ran back to my room, skipping dinner. That night, Jessica knocked on my door. I opened it, curious about what she had to say.
Your room is so nice. You've had such a good life all these years. Do you know how my mom and I lived? In a tiny rented room with rats. My mom knew your dad first, your mom was the other woman. And you're just the child of an affair. That day, I was the one who set the fire. You're lucky you didn't get seriously hurt.
She could insult me, but she couldn't insult my mom. I picked up a cup and threw it at her, hitting her head. She started bleeding.
Ha ha ha, you dared to hit me! I'll tell Dad, and you're done for!
She ran out. She just wanted to provoke me, and I fell for it. 2 people rushed to the hospital, leaving me alone. That night, I boarded a plane to the United States. I didn't need them to kick me out, I left on my own. I packed my bags and took one last look at the home I had lived in for so long. It used to be my safe haven, but now it was a monster's lair. I would come back, drive those 2 out, and reclaim the home that belonged to my mom and me. Before leaving, I visited the cemetery, bringing my mom her favorite flowers. I promised her I would return soon and give her an explanation. I wouldn't let those 2 live happily. I clenched my fist and felt something hard. I remembered the name badge, possibly the culprits. Though weak, I could see the name, Jessica. Jessica was a girl who transferred to our class last semester. From the first day, she seemed to dislike me. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but later, she avoided any activity I was involved in. We were strangers, and I didn't know why. I even tried talking to her, but she walked away, unwilling to communicate. I figured we didn't need to get along, so I ignored her. I knew she disliked me, but I didn't realize it had escalated to this. I wondered what I had done to offend her.
Sweetie, you're finally awake. You scared me to death.
Mary rushed into the room and hugged me tightly. The next morning, I arrived at the company with Richard. I had visited this company as a child. He introduced me to the shareholders, who had all known my grandparents, David and Linda. They greeted me with smiles, and I warmly reciprocated. Thanks to the social etiquette I learned abroad, everything went smoothly, and Richard seemed very pleased. I had been abroad for a long time, diligently studying and interning at foreign companies during holidays. Despite having no connections there, I managed quite well. After graduation, I received offers from many prestigious companies, but I declined them all because everything I did was for this moment.
Hello, everyone. I hope we can work well together.
I glanced at the team members, created a group chat, and established some of my rules, bringing back the strict time management and efficiency from abroad. Coincidentally, my office was located at the opposite end from Jessica's. I saw her, and she saw me.
Good morning, Jessica.
I smiled, but she glared at me with hostility. Recently, I heard that Jessica had landed a big contract, though I wasn't sure how she managed to connect with a major company. Unperturbed, I invited some of the uncles and elders for dinner that evening. After a few drinks, I managed to extract all the information from them. The next day, I took my team to that company and presented a more perfect proposal. Businessmen prioritize profits, and since I could offer more benefits, they naturally chose me. Jessica had spent a month trying to secure that contract, but I signed it on the spot. Naturally, I was the project lead. The following morning, Richard's assistant summoned me to the CEO's office. I knew the reason. I grabbed the documents and went. Upon entering, I saw Jessica already there, her eyes red as if she had been crying.
I heard you took your sister's project. The company doesn't allow malicious competition. Explain yourself.
This is my sister's proposal, and this is mine.
I placed the documents on his desk.
I accidentally saw my sister's proposal and noticed that to secure the contract, she had lowered the profit distribution between our company and the client to a 30-70 split. Any mishap in future collaborations could result in significant losses for us. Moreover, her proposal was full of flaws. Seeing that the contract hadn't been signed yet, I worked overnight to create a new proposal and approached the client's representative. They were very satisfied with the new proposal and signed the contract. I did it entirely for the company's benefit. If my sister is unhappy, we can credit the project to her since she made the initial contact. I heard she even approached the client's chairman's illegitimate child.
The client's chairman is extremely afraid of his wife. If she found out that our company was trying to connect through his illegitimate child, she would never let it go. Jessica was truly foolish, willing to go to such lengths to beat me. After hearing my explanation, Richard threw Jessica's flawed proposal in her face.
Stop using underhanded tactics. Learn from your sister and get out.
Jessica glared at me as if she wanted to devour me, but I knew she was helpless. I responded with a smile, infuriating her further.
Sophie, there's a banquet tonight. Will you accompany me?
Sure.
The timing for the next step of my plan had arrived. The cocktail party was just a gathering of capitalists, boasting and discussing collaborations. I followed him, maintaining a proper demeanor and speaking carefully. He seemed quite satisfied with me. That night, he got drunk and I helped him into my car, telling the driver that we wouldn't be going home. I had already booked a room at the hotel where the party was held, and I had arranged for a woman to be there. She was a small celebrity in the entertainment industry, very pretty, but without any backing. I had connected with her, promising her an opportunity, but only one chance. Whether she could captivate him depended on her. I placed him on the bed, and she came in. I gave her a look and then left. No one would suspect me afterward. It was normal for a business partner to arrange some comfort after a drunken night at a party. The next morning, on my way to the office, the small celebrity texted me.
Okay.
I was very pleased. Indeed, men can't resist young and beautiful women. Over the next month, the small celebrity sent me numerous messages. I had told her to inform me whenever he sought her out. It seemed he was indeed captivated by her. Seeing that the timing was right, I sent a few photos she had sent me to Jessica's mom. Sure enough, the next day at work, I saw her come to the office. Everyone treated her with great respect, just like a CEO's wife. I looked at her, feeling a mix of hatred and relief. She wouldn't hold that position for long. She entered the CEO's office, and soon there were sounds of arguing and things being thrown. I stood outside, smiling.
It was you, wasn't it? You deliberately sabotaged their relationship.
I smiled. Sister, don't make baseless accusations. Without evidence, it's slander. You'd better focus on your own projects. Mentioning the previous incident made her furious. I didn't stay to watch her continue cursing. I turned and left. 2 months later, Jessica's mom still hadn't taken any action. It seemed she had decided to turn a blind eye. Her tolerance was impressive, but did she think that would be enough? I looked at the ultrasound images on my phone and laughed. Yes, the small celebrity was expecting. It must have felt familiar to her. She had once intruded into my family the same way. Now, I was returning the favor. I sent the ultrasound images to her. I didn't believe she could remain calm. Sure enough, when I got home that evening, I heard her and Richard having a huge argument.
I don't care if you fool around outside, but you can't let her have the baby. If you dare, I'll divorce you.
Divorce, then. I'm sick of seeing your miserable face every day.
The small celebrity, with her beauty and gentle demeanor, had already captivated him. He was probably seriously considering marrying her. I hired a few more bodyguards to follow and protect her, given her condition. Who knew if that woman and her daughter would act out of desperation? I had to be cautious. This was the most crucial part of the plan, and it couldn't go wrong. As predicted, a few days later, I received information that someone was following her. I told everyone to be vigilant. However, that evening, the message came, "We lost her. She's disappeared." I immediately rushed to the scene. "Tell me what happened." The guards hung their heads, acknowledging their failure.
"She entered the mall and went into a baby store to buy clothes. After that, she vanished."
We split up to search for her. Suddenly, I had a thought and ran toward the restroom. Just as I suspected, the door was locked. I ordered the guards to break it down. Inside, smoke billowed thickly. It was a familiar tactic. I heard faint cries for help from one of the stalls. Quickly, the guards broke the lock and rescued Emma. Once outside, I immediately called the police. "Jessica, after all these years, your methods remain crude. This time, you won't escape." Emma, being a celebrity, was rushed to the hospital. Thankfully, both she and the child were unharmed. The police arrived and collected samples from the scene. The results would take 2 days. Richard, upon learning that Emma had been harmed, hurried to the hospital to comfort her. I stayed out of their way. After this incident, Richard was resolute about getting a divorce. When he placed the divorce papers in front of Emily, she was incredulous.
"We've known each other for so many years, and you really want to divorce me? Do you have any conscience left?"
Richard ignored her words, threatening that if she didn't sign, she wouldn't get a penny. However, if she did, she could still receive a decent amount. She wasn't foolish and signed immediately. She hadn't even moved out when the police arrived.
"Jessica, you are involved in an attempted murder case. Please come with us."
Richard knew it was Jessica's doing and slapped her. Jessica cried and screamed, and her mother cried too. Seeing them in such a pitiful state, I finally felt a sense of relief. They deserved it. Half a year later, Emma gave birth to a baby boy, and at the same time, my shares surpassed Richard's, making me the true head of the company. Meanwhile, he got entangled in a tax evasion case, and his assets were forcibly seized. Before that, Emma wisely divorced him. With the resources from Richard and me, Emma was no longer a minor celebrity but had become a top-tier star. Now she only wanted to focus on her career and moved out with her child, leaving just me in the house. After Jessica was taken away, she was sentenced to 10 years. Her mother was now penniless and on the verge of becoming a beggar. On a sunny afternoon, I took my mom's favorite flowers to visit her. "Mom, I've been very lonely and tired these years, but it was all worth it. That mother and daughter finally got their punishment, and the man who wronged you didn't end up well either. I'll take good care of our home. You always told me to be kind to others, but I used many underhanded methods and dragged unrelated people into this. I know you wouldn't have approved, but I had no choice. Don't worry, I'll live well on my own." I placed the daisies on her grave, where her photo showed her smiling brightly and beautifully. Back home, I hired a designer to renovate the house, removing all traces of those people. In the end, I only kept 2 bedrooms, mine and my mom's. I kept our home safe.